Neymar back to Barcelona? Rumors and twists mark the possible return of the star to the club. But will Barca accept him back? Discover everything about this speculation at Barcelona in 2013, one of the most awaited and talked about transfers in football history. At just 21 years old, the Brazilian had already made a promising career at Santos, standing out as one of the biggest talents in world football. His arrival at Barca was a golden opportunity to shine alongside great names like Lionel Messi, Andres Iniesta, and Xavi Hernandez, in a team that dominated European football under the management of Tito Villanova, Gerardo Martino, and later Luis Enrique. In Neymar's early moments at Barcelona, he quickly stood out for his technical ability, speed, and creativity. His playing style perfectly fit the club's offensive model, which prioritized quick ball movement and offensive fluidity. His adaptation to the team was almost immediate, forming a lethal duo with Messi and Luis Suarez in attack, known as MSN. This trio was responsible for winning important titles and making history at the club.
Neymar gets it back, Suarez falls over it, Neymar puts it in! Messi, Suarez, Neymar spells danger. Neymar in for Barcelona to Lionel Messi, down goes Czech, Messi scores, and that's how quickly they can do it. The big three combine, and Barcelona...
Neymar played a central role in Barcelona's successful campaigns, especially in the 2014 to 2015 season, when the club achieved the historic treble, La Liga, Copa del Rey, and the UEFA Champions League. In particular, his performance in the Champions League final against Juventus, where he scored a crucial goal, was one of the most iconic moments of his time at the club. His ability to decide games, whether with impressive dribbles or goals, made him one of the most important players for the Catalan team.
Back to Neymar. That's that. It's Barcelona's year again in the UEFA Champions League.
In addition to his on-field performance, Neymar also became one of the biggest stars of Barcelona off the field, with immense media appeal, advertising, and global popularity. His image as a charismatic, bold young player with irreverent football attracted even more attention to the club. He brought extra flair to Camp Nou, and during his time there, he was often compared to the great football icons, including his attacking partner Messi. However, despite all the success, Neymar's relationship with Barcelona began to deteriorate over the years. Rumors of internal disagreements with the board and the shadow of Messi, who was still the club's main player, began to surface. The growing pressure on Neymar to become the main star of the team, coupled with the desire to stand out at a club with such immense historical weight, led the player to consider new horizons. In 2017, Neymar made a surprising decision that shocked the football world. He left Barcelona and transferred to Paris Saint-Germain for a record sum of €222 million, the biggest transfer in history at the time. His departure was a huge surprise to Barca fans, who had seen his star shine brighter within the club. The farewell was marked by mixed emotions among the fans, some understanding Neymar's desire to be the leader of a new project, others feeling betrayed by his early exit. The move to PSG divided opinions. For many, Neymar's departure was financially motivated, as PSG paid an astronomical sum to lure him from Barca. Others argued that the Brazilian wanted to step out of Messi's shadow and gain more personal recognition by taking on a more central role in another big team. Whatever the reason, Neymar's departure from Barcelona was controversial, with a mixture of nostalgia from the fans and criticism from the press and some supporters. Despite his undeniable impact at Barcelona, his departure marked the end of a golden cycle for the club and the beginning of a new era for Neymar. During his time at Barca, he won major titles like La Liga, the Copa del Rey, and of course, the UEFA Champions League. His legacy at the Catalan club remains alive, even with the controversies surrounding his departure, as Neymar will always be remembered as one of the key players during the club's most successful period. His time at Barcelona was a mix of magic and complexity, with his ability on the field reflecting his enormous potential. At the same time, the difficulties that arose from the weight of responsibility and the pressure of staying among the best players in the world eventually pushed him to seek new challenges. In the end, Neymar left Barcelona to begin a new journey, but the impact he had on the club's recent history will never be forgotten. In the early years at PSG, Neymar continued to shine, leading the team in various competitions. But the environment at the French club also presented challenges. The lack of consistent success in the Champions League and some injuries affected his trajectory at PSG. But he remained one of the main stars of world football. During this period, Neymar had brilliant moments, with memorable goals and decisive performances, but the expectations of winning the Champions League continued to cast a shadow over the club.
Cavani with the touch, Neymar available! The first of who knows how many. Rabiot drives it across, saved one-handed, and there it is, Neymar.
Pastore qui s'efface, Neymar encore, jusqu'au bout, jusqu'au bout, jusqu'au bout, jusqu'au bout, jusqu'au bout, et c'est tout.
In 2019, just 2 years after his transfer to PSG, Neymar publicly expressed his desire to return to Barcelona. The player himself stated on several occasions that he missed the Catalan team and would like to come back, admitting that his move to PSG hadn't been the happiest decision. However, the negotiations for his return never took place. Barcelona, which was undergoing restructuring and facing financial problems, couldn't find a viable solution to bring Neymar back to Camp Nou, and PSG was not willing to sell the player for a lower price. This resulted in a great frustration for Neymar, who seemed to have not found the peace and success he had hoped for at PSG. In the following years, Neymar's situation at PSG remained complex. In 2023, the player was transferred to Al Hilal in Saudi Arabia in a deal that surprised many. Although PSG had a successful season in Ligue 1, internal disputes and the lack of important titles, such as the Champions League, made his future at the French club uncertain. His move to Al Hilal in 2023 seemed to mark the beginning of a new chapter in his career, but many rumors began to circulate that the player could return to Barcelona. The expectation was fueled not only by Neymar's own wish, but also by some statements from Barcelona players, who expressed their admiration for him. After the failure at PSG, with the French squad failing to conquer the much-desired Champions League and injuries hindering his performance, Neymar decided to take a step back and return to Santos, the club where his professional football career began. The transition to Santos was symbolic, not only as a way of starting over, but also as a demonstration of humility on the part of the player, who still had much to offer in football but needed a calmer environment with less pressure to rebuild his physical and emotional form. The transition to the Brazilian league represented a return to his roots, but was also seen as an attempt to regain the confidence lost during his European journey. With the possibility of a return to Barcelona, speculation reached greater proportions when it was revealed that Neymar would be available to return to the Catalan club. Many questioned whether Barcelona's players would still accept him after his sudden departure to PSG in 2017. But the response was surprising. Gavi, Pedri, Lamine Yamal, and Rafinha, young players who were part of the core of the team, publicly expressed their affection and respect for Neymar. The Brazilian's talent and experience are widely recognized within the Barca dressing room, and the younger players see him as an inspiration both on the technical aspect and in terms of behavior off the field. Pedri, in particular, revealed that he always had Neymar as a reference. "I've always admired his style of play, his creativity, and his ability to decide a game," said the Spanish midfielder. Gavi and Yamal also expressed enthusiasm about Neymar's possible return. They believe that the presence of the Brazilian could be an advantage for Barcelona, given his ability to create plays and generate spaces for other attackers. Rafinha, another Brazilian in the squad, has a friendly relationship with Neymar and publicly expressed his desire to play alongside him at Barcelona. For Rafinha, having Neymar on the team would be a great opportunity for Barca to further strengthen their attack and create new offensive dynamics, something that could be very useful for the team's title ambitions. In the media, the scenario is divided. Many outlets state that Neymar's return to Barcelona is a real possibility, with the club's directors speculating on how his experience and skills could benefit the team, especially as the attack is still evolving. However, there are also those who view this with skepticism. Some journalists and commentators warn that the transfer could be risky, considering the high costs involved and the frequent injuries that marked Neymar's final phase at PSG. Moreover, Barcelona has been financially restructuring and doesn't want to take on large commitments, especially with a player who, despite his talent, has a history of injuries. Neymar's impact upon returning to Barcelona would also be significant within the dressing room. His experience in international competitions and his prestige would help lift the team's morale, but questions about the financial cost and his physical condition after so many years in European football are still lingering. Despite this, it's undeniable that his return would bring a special dynamic to Barca's attack, which could rely on a world-renowned player capable of changing any game at any moment. In summary, Neymar's desire to return to Barcelona is being fueled both by his own will and by the affection the young players at the club have for him. The idea of playing alongside Gavi, Pedri, Yamal, and Rafinha seems appealing to Neymar, and speculations about his return remain a hot topic in sports news. However, the final decision will depend on a series of factors, including the club's finances, Neymar's physical condition, and the dynamics of the squad.